Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining my new YouTube channel, Focus on Fun. This is Alishon Fairley, ADHD Cutie, here again with another guest for my new series of sisters who solo travel through house and pet sitting. My guest is Jeseth Griffin. I think she'll correct me on that. But just to give you a little background on Seth, she is originally from Guyana. She's a digital nomad who uses house and pet sitting as a way to explore this great big world. I will put a link to her Facebook page in the description box, along with any social media links that she may want to share. But let's bring her on. And thank you, Jeseth, for joining us today. Hi.
Hi. Hey, Alishon. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. So now you are from Guyana. You're my first international guest.
Woohoo! First for everything. First of many.
First of many. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, so now you were both in the Sisters Who Sit pet sitting group, but you have not started pet sitting yet, correct?
Say that one more time.
You have not started pet sitting yet, correct?
Oh, I have. I
Oh, you have?
absolutely have. I haven't
Okay.
done international, but I've done
International. Okay. All right. Perfect. Okay.
Absolutely.
So now were you solo traveling before you started pet sitting, or have you been solo traveling as a result of pet sitting?
A little bit of both. I've always been, well, first of all, let me say this, LaShawn. I am super honored and like excited to be here. Thank you so much for asking me to come chat with you. And I'm honored to just share your platform and tell your story to your beautiful guests and all the listeners who subscribe to your channel. Um,
Thanks.
so yes, a little bit, just as a brief intro, and then leading into answering that question. So again, my name is Jeseth, which I like to say rhymes with Macbeth. Originally, originally from South America, it's Guyana in South America, and I've spent most of my adult life living in Atlanta. So for me, traveling has always been like a comfortable part of my life because I'm just very curious about the world in general, and because being a professional musician afforded me a bunch of opportunities to travel the world doing what I love. So I'm in an exciting new chapter of my life. And
Yeah.
this month, I'm celebrating 1 year of moving out of Atlanta to become a full time traveler and digital nomad. And house sitting is a large part of making this very unique lifestyle possible and affordable. So I have traveled solo before, but it was always almost exclusively with Airbnbs. I've done some hotels and whatnot, but
Yes.
um, Airbnb is just like a game changer because it's a whole house and there are pots and pans there, and I get to cook and I get to continue the life that I would have already had in another place. So yeah, so it's been through Airbnb, but pet sitting and house sitting is a whole new world that I learned about a little bit before I transitioned into becoming a full-time digital nomad. And that's all I do is travel the world. So I do not travel and go back home and travel and go back home. I travel in one city, then travel to another, then travel to another, then travel to another. Every now and then I'll go home. I haven't been back. My new home is in Florida, by the way, in Naples, Florida. I haven't been back there since May. It's almost been a year. So yeah, I'm a full-time digital nomad.
Okay. So your journey is a lot like mine, where I am now. I started off actually doing uh, solo traveling through pet sitting full time, where I literally gave up my apartment, gave up my vehicle. I literally do this full time, which
Yep,
is why
did all those same things.
I stayed back to back pet sitting because I mean I love it. It's not hard work. I get to travel. I still have my free time whenever I need it, as long as I'm taking care of the pets.
Mhm.
The rest of the time I'm free to do whatever I like to do. So
Yeah.
I am currently in Colorado with one of the sweetest dogs I've ever met.
Aw.
Where are you now? Are you solo traveling now, or are you actually pet sitting now?
So I call it, to me, the two are synonymous. Solo traveling and pet sitting. So I pet sit as a means of housing while I solo travel, but I'm
Yes.
only solo traveling. So
Yep.
where I am, I'm in Norristown, Pennsylvania, which is a little bit north. It's like the suburbs of Pennsylvania, of Philadelphia, excuse me. So
Okay.
I was in Philly for a couple of months on a really beautiful pet sit in the heart of the city, right down the street from the Liberty Bell. And I didn't feel like getting on a plane. So I just found another pet sit in the same
Mhm.
area. It was just a train ride away. So yeah, I'm in Norristown.
Okay. All right. So now, so all your pet sits and solo traveling have been domestic, correct? You haven't gone international yet.
Not as a solo traveler as yet. So most of my anything that I've done on my own, that was just me traveling and not work related, has been domestic. Yes.
Okay. All right. So, what are some points and advice and tips that you're practicing yourself and would pass on to others who are possibly in the same situation where you are, where you've done pet sitting domestically, and I'm in the same boat. I've done pet sitting domestically, but I haven't ventured out to
Internationally.
across
Yeah.
the waters yet. So
Right.
what would you say to somebody like me?
Yeah. So I know this is not you, but there are a lot of people who have not ventured out into solo travel or pet sitting, since that's the topic that we're talking about, or solo living generally because of fear. That's a big thing that, when people, talk to us, people like us who are on this journey, a lot of the questions that I get center around fears, right? So I'm not just out here, just nilly, just out here in the world, just, oh, everybody, I'm out here. No, I am just as safe. I practice the exact same safety measures as I would, if not more, as when I was living on my own. I lived on my own for 5 years in Atlanta before this journey started. And we can probably talk about how the journey started later. But I lived on my own. And if you're single and living on your own, you have to be safe, just like traveling on your own, you have to be safe, right? So always concerned about posting in real time. I never post in real time. Nobody can ever know where I am. I have shared my location just like I did back in Atlanta. There are people who have iPhones who can see visibly where I am on a map
Yep.
at all times.
Yep.
When I go out, and I go out and do a lot. Like I'm equally introvert and extrovert. So sometimes on these solo travels, I'm literally in the house the whole time, just chilling and reading and really just getting my whole life undistracted. But I do also venture out. I've gone to dance classes, I've gone to dinners, I've gone to, you name it, I've probably done it. Excursions, hikes and kayaking on the river. I've done all kinds of stuff. And it's the same thing. I do not tell everybody that I am out. Traveling. I might say I'm traveling. I might say I'm visiting, but it's never the whole story. I'm not traveling by myself and I'm here for a month by myself. Like they don't ever know the whole story. So
Mhm. That's
all
that
of
that is
those.
that's a very good tip for anybody who's considering traveling or who's just starting solo traveling. Never tell social media, the public or whatever where you are.
Mhm.
Excuse me. Even if you record something on your phone, post it later after you've left that site, you're
Later.
getting ready to leave that site. Yeah, no one should ever, because like you said, people can literally track you
Mhm.
on their phones to see
Mhm.
where you are. So we got to keep ourselves safe, ladies. Got to keep ourselves safe. So
100%. So just don't leave, just like you would at home. And maybe you're not as safe at home, so maybe you want to start being safer at home. But
yeah,
don't leave
yeah,
any breadcrumbs for anyone who has nefarious intent to find you, because
hmm
there are people with nefarious intent.
yeah. It's
I
a different.
will also
It's definitely
say,
a different mindset.
oh, for
Definitely
sure,
a different mindset when you travel. Yes.
yeah. So if they're looking to find somebody, don't let them find you. That's all I'll say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. So tell us now how your journey actually started.
I love this question because I think so many people can identify with my journey. So I'll take a little bit to just give some background. So,
Okay.
as you know, and as we've established, I am from Atlanta. And so for all of my years growing up in my early adult years, Atlanta was known around the country as a great place to live with a low cost of living. And that's just like a known thing, right? Even when I was traveling before, when I lived in Atlanta, everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I know somebody that just moved there because it's so cheap," and so it's just been a known thing. So, well, for 2 years, I worked hard to set my life up to finally be able to purchase my first home in Atlanta. So, I took some courses in a new field, got a secured full time salaried remote role at a really great company, and was ready to move forward with my home buying process. But so this is towards the end of 2022 when this is all happening. After a few conversations with my realtor and loan officers, I was hit with the disappointment that a lot of my fellow ATLians faced around that time. It was now 2023 when these conversations were being had, and I realized that I had missed the age of affordable ATL homes that lasted for decades and was just now shocked by how much it now costs to be a homeowner in Atlanta. So
Mhm.
I was priced out of what I was comfortable paying. I wasn't completely priced out. People are always like, when people hear that story, they're like, "Well, you still could have afforded." It was more than I was willing to pay to live in that moment, right? When I had already budgeted what a mortgage would cost, at previous interest rates and previous housing rates, etc. So I was priced out of what I was comfortable paying, and I had also gotten word from my leasing office that the rents were going to increase significantly in my next rental term. So all of this is happening at the same time. This happened to so many people in this country around that time, and I'm sure that there are some in your audience that can relate. Um, but all of that, Ella Sean, was a setup for my travel journey. So I'm on the phone. Here I am. Now I'm not going to be able to buy a house. I've done all this stuff to set my life up to finally buy a house. I'm on the phone crying with my best friend, and she reminded me of our dream to take some time to just travel the world. So for about an hour, we dreamed together on the phone about all of the bucket list places and all the authentic foods we wanted to eat. And after about an hour, she said, "Well, you're already working remotely. And if you're not renting anymore and you don't have a mortgage like I do, then you can do all of this right now as a digital nomad."
See,
So,
support, right?
oh my
Support.
God. So she was
Key.
so supportive. That's my friend.
Support is key, and it's not always going to be from your family. And I'm sorry to say, a lot of times it's not going to be from your family.
No, no. So for me, that was all it took. Having that conversation, it was a snowball reaction of just making decisions. And I started researching how digital nomads were living, where all the poppin' expat communities were. And by the time I found Stephanie Perry on YouTube, who we all know, I
Yes.
enrolled in her. Took no time to enroll in house sitting school.
Mhm.
And I connected with this idea of just being a digital nomad and not being bound to the bills that I was paying and the lifestyle that I was working so hard to keep up. That it felt like it was a journey that was already decided for me. So I broke my lease the right way and took a leap of faith in this was last April. So now it's April, and it's been an indescribable, fantastic journey for the last year. So that's my story. That's how I
I can
became a digital
completely
nomad.
relate. I can completely relate to your story because yours is so similar to mine. I actually left Florida 3 years ago
Mhm.
because of just the toxic job and just all the stuff that we had been through 2 years before. I was in a near fatal accident, lost
Mhm.
my adoptive dad 3 months after that accident.
Oh my
And it's
God.
like the job was like, okay, but can you still do your job? No, no, I can't. Did you not hear what I talked about? This was just, and so that it was just too much, and it just kept snowballing and snowballing. And finally, I was like,
I'm so sorry.
I can't do this anymore. Like, I cannot do this anymore. So I stayed 2 years so that my son could graduate because I know what that feels like to have to be snatched out of your high school and away from friends that you've been going to school with all these years. I'm like, I didn't want to do that to him. We waited 2 years, and literally 2 weeks after he graduated, we moved to Florida,
Mm.
packed up everything and put it on the auto train. Okay. Yes. That's how we moved. Perfect. It was perfect because I didn't want to do that drive. So he stayed for a whole year in Florida and decided he wanted to go back to Maryland. So then I'm like, okay, I'm literally an empty nester now. What do I want to do? I don't have to stay here. The lease is about to end. Same thing, like you said, the lease is about to end. And at first, I was trying to figure out how to find a one-bedroom apartment. Did I want to stay in that complex? Did I want to find a new apartment complex? And I'm like, you know what? I want to go back to traveling because I was
Mm.
kind of doing that anyway
Yeah.
before, way before he was born. And I'm like, I need to do something new, something different, something just completely freeing in what I really want to do. And that's what I did. And now I know I understand family probably doesn't understand it, friends don't understand it, but you know what the beauty of it is? They don't have to. This is my journey. I've prayed about it. It is what it is. You can accept it or not. If you don't, that's fine. I mean, I'm the youngest of my family, so a lot of family and friends are, they still kind of treat you like, just tell her what to do, and she just do it. She's the youngest. We just tell her what to do, and I understand. In some ways, they think they're looking out for me and trying to be supportive and helpful the way they know how.
Yeah.
I'm almost 60 now. I don't need that anymore. If I do need it, I can come to you and ask.
Hmm. Can I
So
ask you a question about the free? I would love for you to talk more about that freeing nature that you just mentioned, because initially I told myself I'm going to do this for a year, and why I said I wanted to do it for a year connected to the whole housing process that just not being able to buy a house. I said, well, I
mhm.
have to come back to Atlanta and like have a really strong financial foot to stand on. So I'm gonna not pay rent and do all that and save all of that money and come back to it with more of a down payment. So I'm at the year and I have no intention. I've been liberated. I have in this moment, I have no intention of stopping and now going to buy a house. That is absolutely still a goal. But at this point, I have decided that I'm not sure that I'm going back to Atlanta. I may be looking for somewhere else to live. And I feel very liberated from all of everything that was distracting me in terms of just making my life work. So can you tell me about the freeing aspect that you have felt through this journey?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. The same way that you felt that freedom when you were up against the wall, couldn't get the house you wanted, your lease was about to end. I had that same revelation when my lease was about to end and my son left because my move to Florida, the feeling changed, the meaning changed. It just wasn't the same experience for me as I thought that we were going to have because he was no longer there, and I was fine with that. Let him go live his life. I was like, but I've got to figure out now what I want to do. I didn't want to pay rent anymore because I mean that whole year we were doing it. I'm like, this is ridiculous. We're paying all this money. Plus, you got to pay all the utilities because then in Florida, no utilities are included. You've got to pay internet, you've got to pay cable, you still have a teen, so he wants to be able to watch certain movies and things on TV. So that's an extra cost. We had the car note, the insurance, that was high because moving to Florida, it increased. Insurance greatly increased. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Mhm.
And then we even had to do valet trash is what they call it. Valet trash pickup, where they come to your door. You just put the trash right outside your door. And it wasn't an option. That's what really ticked me off. It wasn't an option where I could say, no, I don't need this. They automatically include it in your rent.
Mhm.
I don't need a valet trash pickup. I have a teen. Okay.
Well,
It's
I
not
don't
like,
have no teen, Sean, so I'm all about the valet trash pickup.
but
Come
even
get this
without
stuff for me.
But even without the teen, the trash was like right there. I can literally see the dumpster from my apartment. I don't need a valet person paying extra 100 and some dollars for this person to pick them up, and I don't need
Ooh, a
that.
hundred and some. That's a
Yes,
sum.
That's a song. That's what really pissed me off. I'm like, I don't even have a choice. You just automatically put it in my rent. And I just got tired of this no choice. That's what's the thing. I'm like, it's a nice apartment, but I still don't see it as the price that you're asking in this neighborhood. I just don't see it. I got tired of no choice, which is why one of the reasons I left Maryland. I felt like I didn't have any choices. I had to stay at this good government job, and I had to stay where I was, living because I needed help because I couldn't afford a 2-bedroom on my own. Because rent is ridiculous. Let's just put it out there. Rent is ridiculous. You could get a house for what you're paying rent for, but I've always known I don't want all that responsibility of having a house, because even when you rent it, sometimes you still got to mow the lawn and shovel the snow and clean the gutters and whitewash the side of the house if it starts fading or whatever. You're still responsible of it. I didn't want any of that. I've never wanted anything of that. Airbnbs for me were like a perfect solution, because like, I don't have to do any of that. Electricity and utilities and all that's included. I get a nice house because, again, I get to choose the house that I go to. I get a nice house, no utilities extra. I don't even have to pay internet because they've included that in your stay. A lot of them have breakfast included. So for me, it was a win-win. But, like Stephanie Perry and them say on their channel, sometimes the Airbnbs can be expensive, especially if you want to have the whole place to yourself.
It's pricey.
And that is literally how I found Stephanie Perry, because I'm like, I can't afford to keep this up. I love this living, but I can't afford to keep it up. So that's how I found Petsitting, and I got her course. I got her checklist. And even going through all of that, I was like, I'm still not kind of comfortable. So I even paid to have a one-on-one session with her. So I actually got to speak to her one-on-one.
Cool.
Ended up signing up with Trusted House Sitters, and I still waited for like 2 or 3 months before I actually even applied for my first pet sit. So my profile was up, but that was it.
That's like, okay. But
I don't know. Started. And so opportunity came up where I needed to go to the West Coast for a graduation. I'm like, let me check pet sitting out over there. Since I'm going to be over there, let me see if I can get a pet sit and get accommodations while I'm over there. So that'll save me from having to pay for a hotel or whatever. And that's what I ended up doing. I ended up doing some traveling before the graduation. My son and I went to Vegas, had a wonderful, wonderful, luxurious trip in a penthouse, luxury penthouse. It was amazing. I was like, I could do this. I really want to do this. So I started looking for the more luxurious houses and apartments to pet sit in. And that's what I've been trying to find. I don't always find them because, like you said, they go quick. Luxury homes go quick. The no sit go quick. So you got to put on your reminders and your notifications and grab it as soon as it comes up. But my first pet sit was on the West Coast, way out in California. I did a whole month and a half. It was my very first sit.
Nice.
Was not local at all, but I loved it. I loved it, and I just kept going from there. So
good for you.
And I still love it. I still love it. Now, for people who are thinking about it, on the fence about it, who are signed up for Trusted House Sitters but haven't actually done their first pet sit, do like Jeseth said and start locally. Start in your area, start in your city, start in your state, but start somewhere. Do a short sit. You don't have to do a whole month and a half like I did. You can do like she did. Do a weekend or a week or 2 weeks right there in your area. Put your notifications on. Go to Stephanie Perry's YouTube channel. Get her House Sitters Toolkit. Join her school course. because she even offers a template. So you don't have to try to figure out what to put in your profile. She gives you all of that step by step.
Mm-hmm.
Get support. Get into these Facebook groups like we're in the Sisters Who Sit Facebook group. Get into those Facebook groups and have that support. If you have a question, you have a concern, put it in the group and they will respond. Trust me.
I agree.
Okay, so now just Seth, you haven't petted out of the country yet, but you have solo traveled out of the country, correct?
I have not solo traveled out of the country. As a musician, I'm a professional singer, and I have
That's
traveled out of the country for work. So
uh-huh.
not like as a solo traveler yet.
Okay. I mean, but you're traveling with work, so it's not like you bring your family with you, right?
Right. No family.
So in essence, you are solo traveling because you're not with your family. You know, it's different
I'm not with
traveling.
my family, but I'm with my bandmates, so it's a little different.
Okay, yeah, because they're your family on the road. That's true. They're your family on the road.
They are. They're
So
definitely my family.
but like, where have you been as far as traveling with your band? Where have you been out of the country?
Internationally, so far, to Canada a couple of times, London to Nigeria to Dubai, and I think that's it. I'll have to think some more, but I think that's it.
And so, in your experience traveling in those countries, excuse me, did you feel welcome as a Black woman over in those countries? Or did you see any kind of prejudiceness? Did you feel uncomfortable? What was your experience as a Black woman over in those countries?
Before I respond just automatically, I want to think a little bit.
Okay.
Country by country. I did not feel it whatsoever in Canada. I went to Toronto and then I went to Alberta.
Okay.
And I didn't feel it either time. Toronto feels like Atlanta or New York,
Yeah.
but I didn't feel any discrimination. When I was, I mean, at the airport, you get like if the more remote you go, the more stares you're gonna get. But I never felt uncomfortable like I was unsafe. It was just more so like,
Uh-huh.
who are these people? Who's this girl? What y'all doing?
Yep, and that's it. From what I understand of all the research that I've done and the YouTube channels I've watched, they don't see you as a Black person. They see you as you're an American. You're
Yes.
not from this country. You're an American.
No, so that is
you're
absolutely
because
my
of that.
experience. Out of the country, I am American. I'm not Black.
Yes.
And there is discrimination to Black people. I mean, to Americans.
Americans, yes.
Well, I can't call it discrimination. I'm just going to say they recognize when people are Americans and act accordingly. Have very, very interesting international stories. So when I went to Nigeria, it was I was there for Election Day 2016 when Donald Trump was elected into office. So I'm in a whole other country, and we had gone through Paris as well. So I'm feeling these feelings of this very volatile election and not being home. I'm overseas, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're at the airport, and there's news channels up with the American elections because it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing the people's faces, and people would ask us once they knew we were American. They would ask us like, "What's going on in your country? Like, why are you?" Why is this man, like people are, and I'm saying an experience. I'm not trying to say any type of affiliation to a party regardless, but this is my experience. So I'm in Nigeria and we're flying through Paris and the news is on and people are like in shock and disbelief that what is happening in this country. And so I would have to speak for myself as an American. I would have to speak for my country. It wasn't like, tell me about the plight of the Africans in America. It was never any of that. It was like, what y'all doing over there? you all as a whole, you are in America as a whole, and they do not separate us.
Well, trust me, us Americans over here, trust me, the Americans over here during that time were wondering the same thing. What in the heck just happened?
Yeah, so that was just an interesting. I have not experienced any type of racism anywhere. And even in Dubai, I did not feel, there are a lot of Africans in Dubai because it's relatively geographically close
Close,
to the
yeah, very
continent of
close.
Africa.
Uh-huh.
I did not feel walking down the street with my friends or by myself or anything. I did not get any, like, I didn't feel any type of discrimination to myself.
Dubai is one of the places definitely on my to go to places as far as pet sitting. I was like, I want
Hmm.
to go there,
I've seen a
but
few of those.
I've seen a few of those, but I
Mhm.
don't see any long sits like a month or two. I don't see that. I see
I've
weekends.
seen one. There's one on the app right now in Abu Dhabi. It's probably already gone, but
Okay, yeah, and they go quick. They go quick. Yeah.
yeah. So I've seen a couple longer term ones, and I'm surprised that they're longer terms. But of course, those are probably American expats
Uh-huh.
or
Mhm.
first world expats, I would say.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing too, that a lot of the sits out of the country are actually American expats who have moved over to that country, and they're
So they're
looking
coming
for
back to the
sitters.
states, or
They're
they're
looking
going
for
somewhere else.
right. Yeah, so they're looking for sitters to watch their dogs while they go back and visit family or whatever in the States.
Hmm.
That's what
I've
I've
seen
been
that as
hearing.
well.
I'm like, yes, because I'm like, if I go to Mexico, I can't speak the language. What am I going to do? And that's when that came up. They're like, yeah, a lot of the people who are putting those jobs on the sit sites, they're not Mexicans. And they said, you'll know that it's a Mexican family wanting you to come sit because the post will be all in Spanish
Hmm.
or it'll be in the Asian language,
Hmm.
Chinese, Japanese. So that's how you'll know that that
Hmm.
family is of from that culture.
Hmm.
They said otherwise, you don't have to worry about it. You may need to learn some basic language, of course, like you
You do.
said, to
You do.
interact at the airport or to get a lift from the airport to your sit job, ordering
100%.
food, stuff like that. You may definitely want to learn some of the basic language for that, but
For sure.
it's not an issue if you're not fluent in the language. Was that your experience? Did you find that to be true?
Um, yes. So whenever I was out of the country, and I need to emphasize that it was for work because I was not the point person, right? It was like I was an employee and someone else had already done all those arrangements, and someone else was already in the moments when we were traveling to and from the hotel or traveling to and from gigs or whatever we were doing. Someone else was doing that, so I did not have to. But I will say that English is spoken in a lot of the world as a second language that the children there learn in school. So it's relatively easy to get around. Now, it's relatively easy to get around in the major cities, which I would say I've traveled to major cities, right? When you go further out to more remote places, that's where you're really going to need to learn not just the language but the culture of that place to exist comfortably. And I won't even say maybe safely, but you'll feel more safe if you can navigate a
Mhm.
place comfortably.
So if you're more with the locals,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So if you're thinking about going to another country, I would always say, so when I'm looking at the houses, I always look at the map um, for wherever it is. Even the domestic ones, I'll look at, and I have a couple applications out internationally right now. So probably by the end of this week, I'll have at least one or two international sits. Really excited.
Mhm.
Um, but
You
I
definitely
always
got
look
to
at
come
the
back
map.
and tell us about that.
I will. So excited. One of them is in Mexico, and it's like 3 months long. So I hope I get it. And that's where I
Oh
would
my
spend my
gosh,
summer. I
yes!
cannot
Oh yeah.
wait.
Oh my God,
So
that
I'll
would
let
be
you know. I'll let
amazing.
you know. I don't want to like overspeak, but I do have some in other countries as well.
Claim
But
it, girl. Claim that. Okay, claim it. No
so
overspeaking. Claim it.
I look at the map. I always zoom out to see if this is a city, how close it is to the city, how easy it is to get there, how close it is to the airport. That's important to me. Like I need to
Hmm.
um, feel
Hmm.
like I'm safe close to the airport to be able to get there safely, or even just to get to the sit easily. Because I don't want
Yeah.
to have to get on a plane and then get on a train and then get on a bus and then ride up a mountain. I'm not. That's not for me. That's not for me. That is for who it's for, and there are a lot of people who it's for, and it's for their families that travel and house sit. There are couples who travel and house sit, and that's better for them, and even just teams of friends. If I'm going by myself, I'm looking for sits close to the city. If I'm going with people, it doesn't matter where we go. Let's go to the most remote place, because if I fall and break my leg, there will be people there to get me to where I need to be. But I'm not going to do that and risk that traveling solo. So that's my thing. So I always look at the map, see where it is, and if I'm comfortable with that, and I do my own Google map searches to see, okay, this is the airport, this is a general area of the sit, how long does it take to get there, what is Google saying that the transportation methods are. I do a lot of research. That's one thing I'll say too. In terms of safety, I do a lot of research as it comes to and is associated with any of the sits that I do. So by the time I get to a city, I'm not at the airport like, so where do I find no, I already know. I already know. And if I don't know, I am connected with an expat who knows, who I'm messaging like, okay, I'm at the airport. Where did you say I needed to go? Who did you say I need to look out for? Yeah, I've done all the research. So that makes me feel very safe. And
see that's safety, security, and support all rolled up in one right there. That's a great tip for anybody who's thinking about solo traveling, pet sitting, whether that's through pet sitting, whether you're like Jeseth and you're traveling for work, whatever that job may be. Safety, support. If you're going to be solo traveling just by yourself, use those tips and tricks that she just mentioned. They could literally save your life. You have got to stay safe out in these international streets because you're not from there. They're going to know the minute you step off the plane that you're not from there. You can try to blend as much as you want to. As soon as you open your mouth and they hear that American accent, they're going to know. They're going to know.
Yeah. And again, at that point, that moment, they identify you as American and not as a black girl.
Black girl,
guy. You are an American, which means something to them.
Yes, it means something to them, whether good or bad. Whether good or bad.
If you have family, or if you are from a country that is not American, this is another very sidebar, very niche tip. Won't apply to everybody. If your first country is not American, use that to your advantage when you travel. Okay. If you have another accent, I have a whole other accent. I have a Guyanese accent. This actually, I like to tell people the American accent is the accent. I speak like my people. This is the accent. And whenever I need to tap into that in another country, I absolutely do. So if you are from elsewhere, anywhere else, and you want to, go back and forth as you feel safe, do that, because your American accent helps you in a lot of situations, and other accents help you in other situations. So listen,
exactly.
Be all that you are.
Yeah. Again, you have to do your research, because in some of these countries, they're very offended by Africans. They love Americans, but they do not like Africans. And they can look at you, they see our similar black skin, but the minute you open their mouth, they make their decision.
Yeah.
She's American. I like her. I'm going to help her, treat her nice. She's African. No, I don't like her. I'm going to treat her a different way.
Unfortunately, that's very true.
Unfortunately, it happens more than you know. Take precautions, keep yourself safe, but travel. So many people think that I'm safe because I stay here in the States. No, you see, there are shootings and killings and stabbings and rapings and molestations and going on all the time, all day, every day, somewhere in the States.
There are countries that do not. Nobody has a gun. There are countries that don't have a military. There are countries that they just live very differently and live very safely, and they have different value systems within that country that, in a lot of ways, makes you safer there than you might be here. You feel safe here because you've navigated safety here, right? This is your home country. This is your land that you've lived in for a long time. So there's a measure of being able to survive in an environment that makes you feel safe. You can acclimate to a new environment very quickly. Once you've done your research and you understand, like, for example, in Costa Rica, the saying is pura vida, right? They don't have a military. Nobody got guns. They don't walk around with guns. I'm not saying that it's that there's zero crime and there's nothing to absolutely worry about. But if you take guns off the table and you take a value system that's all about the community and preserving the life around them and taking care of their environment and other things that just make being in community safer, you can go and have a good time and be relaxed and decompress. And if you're stressed out, that could be a really great place for you to go and release a lot of that stress. So
and it's like you said again, the research is key. You've got to do your research, because I've done research for Dubai, and I have seen where the women are just. I'm sorry, I muted you because that's where I think the echo is coming from. I can see in my research with Dubai that people are getting arrested because of their behavior that they don't understand is not tolerated in Dubai. For instance, being loud out in public. Now, for us, that's not a big thing. We laughing and joking and carry on. In Dubai, they will arrest you. I mean, literally put you in jail for that, because that's a big no over there. You've got to do your research and be very clear about what is accepted and tolerated in that country and what is not. So now, as far as okay, just I think go ahead and unmute yourself. Okay, now as far as any other advice to whether it's a new solo traveler, someone new to pet sitting, or they've just signed up in the Facebook group and haven't signed up yet with Trusted House Sitters, haven't started that process yet, what would be a piece of advice that you would give to them to get them over that?
I really like this question too. Well, like I said, I've always been really comfortable with traveling. So nothing about the traveling journey seems scary to me, but I can definitely relate to being leery or scared about taking the first step in a new endeavor, right? So to those beautiful souls, I'd say that you just need to practice doing things that scare you so that you can get very comfortable with the feeling of things working out that you were once scared of, right? So if taking the leap into solo traveling or being away from everything you're uncomfortable with or comfortable with is too large, then my advice would be to start small. And I have a couple examples. So just right where you are, if you are in Detroit, if you are in Middle America, wherever you are, just pick an evening, do little things, pick an evening and go to dinner by yourself. I would suggest a place that has like a nice bar where, you're going to be treated well, where service is one of their things that they're known for, treating their guests really well. So you can have a great bartender, great conversation, and interact with people who are like-minded to you, who are sitting at that bar because they want to be treated well, right? You're going to have great conversations. So that will be a great way to kind of break yourself out. Maybe taking a social class that you've always wanted to, something that you've been interested in by yourself, like dance or sewing or swimming or public speaking or something random that just in the back of your mind, one of those like, man, it will be really cool, or you're one of those one day just take a class in that, and do it by yourself. So you can feel that fear of being in the parking lot, like, oh my gosh, I'm about to do this. And then going inside and seeing everything work out, right? Find a natural attraction in your area that you're really excited to explore and go do that by yourself. Find communities in your area outside of your communities of faith and outside of your cultural communities. Those are really important, but those are comfort zone communities. Find communities that are into the niche things that you like and go out and hang out with them. Whether you're introvert or extrovert, find your level of comfort in interaction maybe. But go do those things. Go be with your people in ways that you've never been with them before. Like those things, again, those back of your mind, one day I would really like to scuba dive. Go in a scuba diving networking group, something like that. And also just lastly, finding other environments that you don't interact with day to day, and let that fight or flight response in your brain know that you're okay and that you're ready to live and it's safe to live. Because that's what it is. We have a fight or flight. We have resistance that just stops us from doing things. And the more you practice being in situations that are not normal or that are not a part of your day to day, the more your brain will relax. And, once that fight or flight calms down and sees that you're good, your creativity, all the things that all the ideas will flow through, like, oh, maybe I can go do this for my first solo travel trip. Maybe I can go do that. Maybe I could, all of those things. So I would say just practice being uncomfortable in places that are not far away from home so that your mind, your emotions, the part of you that is really you that's sleeping dormant because the part of you that's in survival is taking over. Let that fight or flight, that survival mechanism, once that calms down, you'll be ready to go do all the things that you want to do and really start living your life.
I absolutely agree with what Jeseth said, and I'm going to add to that. Definitely start out locally in your area. Now, what she said about going and doing something that you've never done before, even it's something simple as going out to dinner. If you're not comfortable going out to dinner by yourself, start with happy hour. Happy hour runs into the dinner time. So start with that. And I would go even further and say, drive somewhere like an hour or two away and go do a happy hour event away and stay away. Stay a weekend, stay overnight, get a nice hotel and stay away by yourself. If you're not ready for that step, then come back and we can take it baby steps by you joining a meetup group. Like Jeseth said, join with other people who are similar. There are so many meetup groups right now, it's not even funny. Join one of those meetup groups and do some of those activities. I would do that when I wasn't able to get away for a weekend, a long weekend. They have game night and they have movie night and they have day trips where they're just going to go away for the day, but you're still in a group, even though you're by yourself. You don't know anybody in the group, but you still have the safety of knowing that you're in a group. Somebody's there just in case. I would go do solo weekend trips. I would send my son to either be with one of the family members, or as he got older, he would go hang out with one of his friends over the weekend. I would take that opportunity to go and do something for me. I'm not going to sit home and just be, oh, I wonder what he's doing, and I wonder if he's okay. No, go do something. He's having fun. Trust me, he's not sitting over there at the friend's house wondering what mommy's doing while I'm gone for the weekend. Go do something for you. Even if it is just going out to dinner, going to a happy hour, going to a movie again, go do something you really like that you haven't done. Groupon has so many ideas. If you can't think of something, go on Groupon. Groupon will give you ideas. Skating, bowling, rock climbing. And you don't have to be outside. A lot of people don't want to be outside in the heat. Fine. They have indoor rock climbing. They have indoor skydiving. You can start with something adventurous like that, but you're still solo, but not solo, because again, you can join meetup groups who are doing those adventurous things on the weekends. They even have meetup groups that do networking after work. You could go do that. That's a happy hour event after work. You can join those groups and do that kind of fun social activity. But it starts in your mind, like Jeseth said. Those are just some tips and easy ways to get started. Hey, baby. Those are just some easy ways to get started and get out of your head. Reset your brain. Getting out in nature and having fun. That's the important piece. Get out and have fun. Do something that's fun for you. Not what your mom and them did, not what the family thinks you should be doing, not what your friends have guilted you into doing. It needs to be something that you truly enjoy. That's the key. It's got to be something that you truly enjoy, that you want to try. And then take it at your own pace. If you're feeling froggy and you want to get out there and do it on your own, go do it on your own. If not, join a meetup group. If it's a travel adventure that you want to try, out of state or even out of country, they have group traveling. for solos, for singles, for parents, for solo moms, for caregivers, for teachers, for whatever. They have those solo groups out there, and I have a solo group. Feel free to reach out to me, adhdcutie@gmail.com. Yes, I would love for you all to join that. We could all travel together. It will be so much fun. My thing is cruising, so that's what we're going to be doing most of the time. But we can definitely visit some all-inclusive resorts. And I say all-inclusive resorts because for me, traveling has to be easy. And cruising is easy. I don't have to plan anything. A cruise, the itinerary is already put together for you. All you have to do is pick and choose what you want. All-inclusive travel is the same way. The itinerary is already set. You just pick and choose what you want to do, and more importantly, what you don't want to do. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. So, Jeseth, any last comments, any last suggestions, any last tips you'd like to offer?
See y'all out here traveling. Reach out to me, please, if you need more ideas on what we were talking about, because it comes down to confidence, what LaShawn and I were just talking about, right? Is being confident to take risks and do things that I don't see any of this as taking risks because I'm so comfortable with it. So you kind of have to get to a place where you also see it as not risky. If you're approaching it as a risky endeavor, then your fear is gonna make all the decisions for you, right? So why we're saying take baby steps, and another baby step is maybe you don't want to do any of that. Just go buy an outfit for when you are ready. Buy a new outfit. Do something different. You have to get your mind out of the thought patterns that are already there. You got to do something a little bit different, and that's going to start your confidence journey into making this or any move. It could be a move away from the role that you're working or whatever it is. We're talking about confidence to make big decisions for enjoyable and great lives. Our lives are going to end one day. This is my last tidbit. Our lives are going to end one day, and you are going to think back on your life and think back on all of the things that you did and didn't do. And the things that you didn't do are probably what are going to be loudest in your life.
Yes.
Right? So tomorrow is not promised. I'm a woman of faith. Tomorrow is not promised. And if you are so consumed with a life that you're living that you can't take any steps into the life that God actually intended you to live in, take note of that and come up with an action plan. Reach out to me. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what you can do to start moving in the direction of the life that you're supposed to be living. So I'm excited. LaShawn, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for attending. And for those of you who are pet sitters out there or who are getting ready to start your journey, I just wanted to show you my book that I created.
Ooh.
If I can get it, hold up.
I know. You pet sitter. You have a book, LaShawn?
It is available on Amazon. Oh, this is so annoying. I hate that.
Well, we can make it out behind the cruise ship that's coming through. But I see two dogs, and the title of it is Petsitter
Logbook.
Petsitter Logbook. Cool.
Petsitter Logbook. Yeah, it's available on Amazon. So anybody can grab a copy of that if you're starting pet sitting, or even if you have been pet sitting. It's a great way to keep everything organized. So I want to show you one of the pages inside so you can see what it looks like inside, because it saves me, definitely keeps me organized. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that, but see the
okay.
So you can put the owner's information in here. You put the pet's information in here, the breed, the name of the pet, their age, meal times, food and water, treats, favorite toys, and any specific instructions that you get. I put everything in here, including my travel plans, how I'm going to get from the airport or whatever to the sit. Everything goes in there. Any special notes, any medications that the pet may need, any special care that they may need because they're anxious or whatever. I put all that in that log. It is a life-saving tool. Definitely Go on Amazon, get your copy. I will put a link in the description box. And that's all I have to say. So for those of you out there who are ready to do it, just come on, let's do it. Come
It's so
on.
much fun, y'all. Like we are literally having the time of our. It's so much fun.
Yes, it is. It is so much fun. You
If
get
you're
to
thinking
travel.
about, go ahead, go ahead.
You get to travel. You're taking care of pets. You get to get out in nature and have fun. All of that. You're doing all of that. And you get to choose how, when, and where you do it. That's the best part.
Yeah.
You're not assigned a sit and then that's what you got to do. You get to pick. Right now, Jeseth is in Pennsylvania. I'm in Colorado. We picked these sits.
Mhm.
Okay. She has, what do you have, a cat or a dog?
I have a cat today, or
She has a
this
cat.
month.
I have a dog. We get to pick these sits. You pick the pet you want. You pick where you want to go. You pick how long you stay.
Mhm.
It's a win-win, you guys. You can pick a place that you have been dying to go to all your life and
I've
find
done that.
pets in that area and go there and pet
Mhm.
sit for however long you want. If you just want it to be a short stay, you make it a short stay. If you want to stay longer, look for longer pet sits. If you want to go to, let's say it's an annual event like the balloon festival in New Mexico, the hot air balloon festival in New Mexico, that's something I want to do. I'm gonna look for pet sits around that time of the year in New Mexico, so next time I can go to that. There's that meetup for in Portugal in June. If I'd have known about it before, I'd have definitely planned that one and planned pet sits around that so I could go. But there's the airfare factor. I got to check that out, see if I can afford that. I would love to do that meetup. That's how you do it. That's how you make it affordable. That's how you make it affordable. For those of you who have the credit card with the airline points, that is how your airfare becomes affordable. Use your points to fly and then use pet sitting as your accommodations. Win-win. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. So I thank you all so much for joining us. Mr. Seth, thank you very much for being my first international guest. Thank you so much.
First of
And
many. First of many.
you do your first international sit, please come back and share that experience with us. Let us know how it went.
I will. I
Because
cannot wait.
I haven't done mine yet either. So.
And I want to be clear. I haven't done mine yet. It's not because of fear or needing to take the leap. There's just like the first year I wanted to visit family members who I had not seen around the country, and pet sitting allowed me to do that. So now I've seen everybody, and now it's time to go.
Yeah, mine was out of fear, and it was also because I didn't have my passport. So I went through the process, got my passport. Anybody need help with that?
You ready?
Reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to help you and walk you through that passport process because it can be much. It can be a bit much. So I'll be more than happy to guide you through that, or I can even create a YouTube video to guide you so step by step so you can see it as I'm doing it online. But yeah, I got my passport, but I've had it for like 3 months. Still haven't booked anything yet. So I'm like,
that's okay. That's very new. That's
I'm like,
very
it's a new year.
to have had your passport.
I literally just renewed my trusted house sitters membership 5 days ago, 6 days ago.
Okay.
So many weeks. So I have literally been doing this officially 1 year.
Yay, it's both of our 1 year anniversary.
Yes.
I just renewed mine like 2 weeks ago. So woo-hoo!
Yes. So I'm like, this year I'm doing new things. I'm like, I gotta keep going.
My birthday is coming up, and the goal is to be out of the country. So
there you go. I missed that because I did the cruise for New Year. That was my very first solo cruise. I was so happy I did that. And it was for New Year's. Oh my God, it was amazing. It was amazing. It was over the holidays, so it was crowded. There was a lot of kids, but I didn't care. I'm like, I'm having my own experience as a solo cruiser.
Yes.
I absolutely loved it. And I definitely plan to do more of that. I would love to take other ladies with me. When you all
Let's
are taking
go.
your breaks in between sits, or if that's a solo trip that you want to do, solo cruise, let's do it, ladies. Let's do it.
I'm
Reach out
down.
to me.
I am the queen of send me the details so I can book my ticket. That's who I
I
am. So
Yes,
I'm
I
down.
definitely will. I definitely will. And you're more than welcome to bring other solo parents with you, other solo cruisers with you, people that you know love to travel by any means necessary. Bring them with you. Let's form this first group cruise and let's go somewhere.
No
Let's
pets.
go somewhere. No pets. And for me, no children. I'm sorry. No children. We are going to be mainly cruising on Virgin Voyages. Why? No children allowed. Ha! You got to be 18 to get on that ship, baby.
Yes.
You
I
got to
can't
be
wait.
18 to get on any of the Virgin Voyage cruises. That's definitely going to be our main home ship. It's going to be Virgin Voyages. And we're just going to go up from there because a lot of the luxury cruise ships either don't have a lot of kids or they don't allow the kids. Now, not to say I'm not excluding moms with children who need to bring their kids because we'll do a couple of those. I'm just saying that's just
Yeah.
I'll
But
have that in.
cruises are just generally speaking, it's not normal for a cruise to not have children. That's kind of the pull, right? Is you can bring
That's
your
kind
whole
of the
family,
thing.
everybody can have an experience. So
Yes,
that's not a
yes, it's
exclusive.
definitely
We're
a
not trying
family
to
thing.
exclude that
We're
population at
not
all.
excluding that. So I will put together some group cruises for you all, but I'm just letting you know. Majority of them are going to be without the children. That's the
Come on,
whole
get your
point.
relaxation on, mama.
Thank you. That's the whole point of my cruise and travel group. Is for you to have that experience without the kids. It's for you to have that experience to get back to just being you. The woman you were before you became mom, before you became caregiver of your aging parents, before you took on all these duties and things and hats and responsibilities. Get back to you. What you were doing, having fun, living life just so lighthearted. We have got to go back and revisit that female. She has to stay a part of this life because that's what brings us the balance that we need. You can't keep going and going and going and doing and doing and doing for everybody and not replenishing your own energy level. You've got to have a way to do that. And I have figured out a way to do that. And I can help you and bring you along with me through these group trips, these group cruises. So reach out to me. Jeseth is already on the list. So if y'all know Jeseth, come on, because Jeseth is going. Okay.
And we don't have if you come in when I'm gonna be there, we're gonna have a good time.
Oh my God. I had so much fun because me as an ADHD out of the box thinker, my trips are going to be different. They just don't. There's always going to be a different twist. So get ready. Get ready. It's going to be something fun and it's going to be unusual, something you're not expecting. So just get
My
ready
God.
for anything. All I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. So, all right, I'm going to let you all go. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, we've done an hour. I've never talked for an hour because I just don't feel like it. But thank you, Giselle.
You're welcome. This has been fun. I've enjoyed this.
I have absolutely enjoyed this. And so until next time, you all stay tuned in. Keep watching Facebook and YouTube because that's where I will announce where we'll have our next guest and who it's going to be. So stay tuned, you guys. And like I said, if you're ready to join Jeseth and I for our solo cruise adventures and solo all-inclusive adventures, reach out to us. Let us know. We'll see you in the international streets, guys, international waters. Bye for now.